Boom skis, we
Thank
back.
you, everyone, for joining us. We are back, Salt of the Streets. My name is Donovan.
I'm Colin.
That's right. And this is here for our part 3, and we're going to be discussing Elon Musk and his recent acquisition of Twitter. Ooh. Thank you for joining us here on the live stream, Lenny. Thank you for being here at youtube.com/saltofthestreets. We also have our Instagram and our Facebook and our patreon.com, all at Salt of the Streets. Like
Nicely done,
cool.
sir.
Yep. Thank you. You can find all of this at saltofthestreets.com. Obviously, we have our own personal social media as well, and I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both of those things. Make sure that you leave a like, a comment, you subscribe to our content, and you share this with all of your friends. We also have the first ad that popped off this week on the Instagram. It's up there on the YouTube if you guys want to check it out on our home page. It's there. Thank you. Wow, that was clean. That was clean, and that was so much quicker. I'm a huge fan of that. We're revolutionizing our socials game out here, Lenny, because we apparently are not professionals yet. So we are out here. Part 3. What are you looking for?
I was going to say, let's just show the people real quick.
Like we don't have the audio, remember?
Oh, we don't have the audio.
We don't have the audio, remember?
Stupid.
So, but it's there on the homepage if you want to go there and check it out. So, part 3, we'll be talking about Elon Musk and the recent acquisition of Twitter. So, over the last few weeks, he purchased a stake in Twitter of like 9.6%, right? Things progressed rapidly from there.
At the speed of Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. It was bubbling the last time we were here with the Gator Boys, and we just didn't get to it. I did not think things were going to happen this quickly, or else I would have demanded that we discuss it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was kind of like waiting in the wings to be like, this could go either way.
Yeah, it just didn't. I did not expect it to happen that quickly. No. So Elon Musk purchased a 9.6% stake in Twitter. It was like X amount of shares or whatever. He spent a whole boatload of cash on it.
Yep.
Things progressed very quickly from there, where there were talks of him joining the board. And then he was like, well, I don't want to join the board, so that there are options to do this. Then he started to look to acquire Twitter as a whole. He made a first initial offer that the board denied. And then they started looking like they were going to undertake what was called the poison pill. And did they actually do that? Or were they just talking about it?
Well, what is the poison pill?
The poison pill was splitting shares by an immense amount and dividing them and reducing the value, and it would get other people to buy in and reduce Elon Musk's effective stake in Twitter. He would own a smaller percent of it because there would be more shares there for people to purchase.
Yeah, my understanding is at this point they did not do that.
They did not do that. Okay.
Although there is fuckery about.
Yes.
But that's a totally different side.
And we're looking to you for this. All I can provide is really this and then some discussion points afterwards. And so the poison pill never actually took place, but Elon Musk then made a much larger offer to purchase Twitter. Was $44 billion at the end. So I don't know, it was like $56 per share or something to that effect.
54.20, I believe, or something like that.
So there you go. So everybody who owns a share of Twitter gets paid $54.20 when all of the ink is dry and everything is done. Of course. He does weird stuff like that. So,
and actually, why don't we just read a little bit of this real quick to get some background right off of it? So coming from timcast.com,
I love to see
breaking. Elon Musk successfully buys Twitter.
It's lonesome money. I don't get the Twitter acquisition. If you look at the revenue Twitter generated versus the $44 billion it paid, it doesn't compute.
Indeed, it does not.
That's a big point. He definitely overpaid. That is a huge point to be
and
made.
That's the reasoning behind that at this point is it's because at a certain point, this is what you call a hostile takeover, right? You do something to a public company that has a fiduciary responsibility to its shareholders.
Yeah.
Right on the cusp of the Q1, the first quarter earnings reports coming out and things like this, right? It puts a lot of pressure on a corporation or a public board like that to look at an offer that is way more than their stock is worth or is going to be worth, and then realizing that it would be a failure to their shareholders to not take the deal and give everybody a payout. Because as it is right now, if you own one share of Twitter, you will get a check from, I don't know who essentially it'll come from at that point, but you will be paid for your share
JP Morgan Chase
at the rate of $54.20 per share.
Yeah.
So
maybe it comes from Twitter.
I think it probably comes from Twitter, the actual sale. It'll be whoever's buying it. So it'll probably come from Elon. He has to buy the shares from the company, aka from you,
with his name on it.
I would imagine at that point.
Very interesting. Because the funding came from J.P. Morgan Chase. The half of it that he got funded, he put up a shitload of cash himself.
Yes,
he sold off a bunch of Tesla stock and stuff like that, a bunch of assets and shit, and so that he could put up a bunch of cash, and then got the rest of it funded from J.P. Morgan Chase.
Yes. Now, so let's get into this article real quick.
Timcast. Shout out Timcast.
Yeah, Timcast is doing big things. We're going to talk about them a couple times throughout this show.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. According
Part 4,
to...
baby.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. Part 4, Lenny. Stick around. It's going to be good. According to a press release, quote, Twitter Inc. today announced that it has arrived or entered into a definitive agreement to be acquired by an entity wholly owned by Elon Musk for $54.20 per share in cash in a transaction valued at approximately $44 billion. Upon completion of the transaction, Twitter will become a privately held company. Pause button there for a second.
Yes.
As of right now, there's a lot of talk about, this is Elon's Twitter now. This is Elon's Twitter now. You know, it's a totally different Twitter world now because Elon bought it. Elon don't own shit yet.
No.
They have entered into the agreement for him to purchase it.
They haven't even started signing paperwork.
Yes, this has to get
approved. Not only is
the
ink not dry, they haven't even started putting ink down on paper yet.
Exactly, and it still has to get approved by the federal government. I think it's the Federal
SEC,
Exchanges.
or the FEC, yeah.
FEC, and well, there's probably a whole handful of bureaus that have to approve this deal.
All
so
the
it's going to have to
ECs.
go. But from certain legal minds that are looking at it, I hear that it should be a relatively quick transaction. Lonesome Lenny, there is a fiduciary obligation to pay the shareholder the market price at time of purchase.
Well, in the market,
price
is dictated by the person purchasing it, right?
No, the market price is dictated by the market. So if it's a public traded company at that point, it's going to be whatever the stock is, which at this point, I think it goes into this a little bit later. He's already purchasing this at a premium from the time of the purchase. It was, if we get into percentages a little bit more in here, but after the first quarter earnings report came on, they failed to reach their earning goals in quarter one again. So their stock would be falling even further than it is now. So you're getting a massive premium at this point if you were a stockholder in Twitter, if you are a stockholder in Twitter. So let's see, where is that? How do they talk about here? In April, Musk purchased a 9.2% stake, so it's 9.2% according to Timcast, in the social media company. Within a week, he announced his bid to buy the entire company for roughly $43 billion in cash and take the company private, delisting it from the New York Stock Exchange. However, his endeavor was met with criticism and resistance by the company's board. The board announced a shareholder rights plan, often called a, quote, poison pill, as part of their effort to stop Musk from the takeover. The media, politicians, and critics spoke out in fear of Musk's focus on free speech. Multiple pundits have claimed that Tesla CEO's purchase could pose a threat to democracy, that's our new favorite, and transform the platform into an area of hate. It might be the other. This is it.
Free speech absolutism is scary.
It's a bad deal, right? So this is the one that actually talks about their quarterly earnings report coming out and them failing to meet their goals. Again, from Timcast, the company reported 229 million monetized daily user accounts known as MDUAs. The number was slightly higher than the expected 226.9 million, representing a 15.9% increase from the same period last year. The US MDAUs were up 6.4% for the year's quarter at 39.6 million. Where is the area where they talk about them falling short? An increase so they had an increased user share, but still their profit line did not make projections. Where did that article go? I'm just going to go back to this real quick. While I try to find where that's at.
Yep.
So either way, I mean, their earnings report shows that they missed revenue projections, and missed revenue projections like that is only going to occur. The consequences are going to be your stock price falls a little bit because you're not on the track that you think you're on. It's a pretty typical thing if the GDP numbers are expected to be, growth of 7% this quarter, and then they come in negative 1.6%, obviously the stock market is going to fucking be affected by that. Yes. It's no different in individual stocks like that, in individual corporations.
Musk margined a portion of Tesla, and that stock took a hit last week. Yeah, he did do that. So we're talking about he sold a big portion of, not a big portion, but a portion of his Tesla stock to be able to fund this. He put out a statement to the investors and the shareholders after that and said that he wasn't going to sell off any more stock. So I wouldn't be surprised, the natural ebb and flow of people starting to see him selling off stock and start selling their shit off.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what's going to happen. And to my understanding, Tesla stock, it's worth good money, but it also fluctuates because Elon Musk does crazy shit. He just does weird stuff. And when he does a weird thing, it freaks people out. When he gets high on Joe Rogan, the Tesla stock takes a dip, and then it goes back up.
First of all, that is a fallacy. He did not get high on Joe Rogan.
When he smoked cannabis.
Yeah, he put it in his mouth and puffed it like a cigar.
Whatever.
I'm so fucking
because
tired
I'm
of that.
judging him for getting high. I don't care.
No, I know.
When
it's
he
a false
does
narrative.
that, the Tesla stock takes a dip, it goes back up. So that did happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we were to see it go right back over the next few weeks.
Yeah, it'll balance back out to where it always does.
Yes,
but it's nobody right now has an electronic car market that is even like semi close to competing with Tesla. So they're still going to be the big ball or the big baller in the industry for
especially
a while
the
yet.
More money the federal government pushes into electric vehicles.
They just had I just started to see videos about this morning, but last night apparently there was this Tesla electric rodeo held in Texas, and it was like a big old party like that, all centered around Tesla and new products and shit like that. So I got to check out some of the videos because it looked like somebody tried to combine Burning Man and inside of a Tesla factory. Like it looked like a really awesome, really weird, artsy, eclectic celebration with a lot of people in cowboy hats and
weird,
shit.
Bro.
So but he's always doing crazy shit like that, man.
Yeah.
And you never know what he's going to do. But from what we've been able to see from his public tweets and things like that after the merger, he has ideas. He has plans. This is who he is. He's an idea guy. He sees a problem and then tries to fix it.
Right.
And he's talked now about essentially cutting back on the bot problem on Twitter.
Yes.
Trying to do something about free speech to make it more free speech friendly.
Trying to make it based around the First Amendment as opposed to the other additional rules and regulations and social guidelines that Twitter has in place based around especially like dead naming and like shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very
disinformation. Elon is not exactly projecting the image of stable executive of a major company.
No.
No, I would agree with that. Yeah.
He's eccentric, man.
He's crazy.
He's like it's that guy that Leo DiCaprio did a movie about, Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
A very eccentric billionaire.
Crazy person
also. He's crazy, and that was a big deal back then too. It's no different now.
I think that you have to just kind of believe in like Elon Musk's
that's
like
what it is,
like
right
his
here.
vision, or whatever you want to call it. Like you got to be down for what you think that he's in on. You have to what do they call it? In basketball, they call it, you got to trust the process.
Trust the process,
We're
bro.
going to be shitty for a few years, but we're going to build a fucking championship squad. You got to trust the process of like people tanking to come out as a champion. And I'm not saying he's tanking, but that's what they call it in basketball.
That makes sense.
You got to trust the process. And if you don't trust the process, I wouldn't blame anybody for that because he's a crazy person. But also, if you see it and the vision aligns with you, then trust the process and trust that it's going to work out the way that he's going for,
People told me to let Russ cook, man, and I did, and then he left.
The guy wants to be a wizard, know? If you believe that Elon Musk can be a wizard, then keep buying that stock, baby. Keep pumping it up.
So I finally found what I was looking for earlier. It was actually a tweet that Jack Sobek forwarded. It's the letter from to Brett Taylor, chairman of the board at Twitter.
Oh, shit.
I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe, and I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy. However, since making my investment, I now realize the company will never thrive nor serve this social imperative in the current form. Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company. As a result, I am offering to buy 100% of Twitter for $54.20 per share in cash, a 54% premium over the day before I began investing in Twitter, and a 38% premium over the day before my investment was publicly announced. My offer is my best and final offer, and If it is not accepted, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder. Twitter has extraordinary potential. I will unlock it. Elon Musk.
That's savage.
That's what I was looking for earlier. That's some good stuff.
That's savage as fuck.
That's called hostile takeover. Get on the board and then put the board in an impossible position so that they have to sell to you.
That's like when Jerry Maguire writes his manifesto. You
yes.
know what I'm saying? His memo, and he sends it out to everybody, and he's like, we're going to fucking win. Like, I can't live in this industry anymore because this shit is terrible.
Yes.
And I'm going to leave, and I'm going to take every client who wants me with me, and I'm going to fucking go.
Who's coming with me?
Yeah, I'm here for it. I don't, like... I'm not a total Elon Musk guy. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm not a hard Elon Musk guy. I'm here for that though. I'm 100% here for that. That's some
shit.
It's obvious. It's obvious what he's doing. Like you said, it's a hostile takeover. He's like I'm gonna take this company and you're gonna like it.
Yes.
And that's the way that it was because
and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
He's pinning their hands of I'm gonna pay you way more than you're ever gonna get for this company, and this is the best you're ever gonna get. So I'm gonna force you to do what is in the favor or in the best interest of your shareholders.
Yeah. And that's
financially. Because that's the only responsibility they have is financial, right?
That's right. They have the fiduciary responsibility to the shareholder, which is always just kind of any company has a fiduciary responsibility to themselves to make sure that they're still around tomorrow and that they could pay for their employees and all that. But if you have investors and you're a publicly traded company, you also need to try to make them money to give them a return on their investment. Otherwise, you don't have a job anymore. What are you trying to do here? So that's basically the general ins and outs of the actual acquisition. I've heard estimates now on when the deal will actually be approved and finalized, and Elon will actually be in charge from anywhere between like 3 to 9 months. So we'll just be watching to see when that happens. But in the meantime, there is and has been something going on Twitter.
Yes.
I don't know how much time do you usually spend, right? I spend a decent amount of my social media time on Twitter.
Trying to get more on Twitter or less on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is a soul-sucking place that is just filled with most people, though.
That's where we're running our shit, and so I do that, and then I look at other shit, and I look at my own shit, and I'm like, fuck, I've been on here for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
it'd be grabbing you. That's why I don't want to be on it very much.
Yeah, and Twitter it's much more easy to like just dip your toes in for a couple minutes and bounce back out. But there's been some strange goings on here, and I'm going to pull up a tweet here from Luke Rudkowski, who is not my favorite human being on the planet, at least when he's on the Tim Cash show. But he's just annoying. I just find him annoying. That's bit annoying. What it is. So I got nothing against him, though. But this was something that he decided to tweet out that today, and this was on, I think it was like the day before, or no, it was like a day or two after the announcement had been made that Elon was going to be buying Twitter. Like they had closed the deal, they'd signed the deal, now it was the real process had begun. And all of a sudden, he gained 39.3 million tweet impressions, right? Everybody that had been previously like, I'm being shadow banned, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, their numbers skyrocketed through the roof.
Right.
And not just with impressions, but also on subscriber count. Right. And it did not make sense because it wasn't the same day. It wasn't right as the news was breaking, so most people find it was a day or two after the announcement had been made. So I don't know how that would happen. Like Twitter news happens at the blink of an eye, and we've seen it happen time and time again. When there are breaking stories, it's around within an hour. Right. I mean, it is out there. It doesn't take 2 days to hit and give everybody a bunch of followers, but within the past 24 to 48 hours, and this was back on April 26th, and I believe the deal was done on the 24th, Tucker Carlson gained more than 62,000 subscribers. Joe Rogan, more than 63,000. Donald Trump Jr., more than 87,000. Ted Cruz, over 51,000 new subscribers.
And there's some left accounts that are losing subscribers.
And here we go. Yeah, Rachel Maddow down 18.6 thousand. Anderson Cooper down 10.3. AOC down 27.6 thousand. Kamala Harris down 22.4. Hillary Clinton down 17.6. Well, that could just be because they keep getting suicided. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard up 10.5. Rand Paul 33.5. Ilhan Omar down 10,000. 1,000. So, obviously, there's some fuckery going on. But what is it? And we're left with speculation at this point. Because it has seemed to, over the last couple days, kind of balance back out again. I noticed personally on my own feed, I didn't recognize it for a few days. There were people like Josie, the redheaded libertarian, is somebody that I used to follow, right?
Okay.
She was she was somebody that showed up on Timcast as a guest, and I liked the fire that she threw on Twitter, so I followed her, and then all of a sudden she was suspended, but now she's back, and it hasn't seemed so many previously banned people return to the platform, but there's a lot of people that were permanently suspended that I have seen now all of a sudden have their accounts back again, and I don't understand that either, unless there is some fuckery going on over at Twitter, and I don't quite understand it.
And I know, so I don't say I know because it's all anecdotal. Mm-hmm. It's all about a goat, right? No, anecdotal. It's I'm just like, my brain's working overtime now. The alpha brain is cranking. But there's been fuckery with people's tweets for a long time. The stats are like a pendulum swinging back and forth. Yeah, there's been fuckery with people's followers specifically for a long time. I know that I've heard many people on both sides of the political spectrum talk about their Twitter followers, just the number of them stopping.
Yeah.
Like them seeing that the notification for this person followed you, this person followed you, this person followed you, but them stopping at like 29K or whatever. It just stops. Yeah. You see you're getting new followers every single day, but the number does not go up.
Yep.
So
I've seen that, and a number of different versions of that.
There is speculation that whatever fuckery was happening with the algorithm beforehand is being done away with, so that when Elon and his team and whatever happens does come in, there isn't ready evidence of the fuckery.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about 6 to 9 months before he actually has control of the company. They're doing it now. It would make sense. I would speculate they're doing it now to have a 9-month track record of like, no, we're clean, and we only save our shit for 6 months. So I don't know. What happened before that? I don't know.
Who's keeping all the data?
Yeah, it's weird. It's the security cameras weren't on. I don't know what happened. People were asleep. So I don't know what. It makes sense to me that they would do that.
Yeah.
There is no direct evidence of that. Right now, the algorithm to Twitter is closed code, so no one has access to it. That's another thing that Elon Musk has said he wants to do.
Free the code!
Make it open access to the code of Twitter, to the algorithm, so people can use it their own and also see exactly how things are being done and all that stuff. So
the shitty thing is I've seen code before, and I don't know heads or tails, man. I got to take expert advices.
Code all the time.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
That's why I got my boy Paul. He's a code writer.
Yeah, Shane made the whole Bennick website.
Oh, hot dog. Good for him.
Yeah, that's
WordPress?
like a whole. No, that's like a whole part of Shane's job is website stuff.
Oh shit.
Making the buttons round instead of square and stuff. Silly things like that.
Which sound like I couldn't do that. Shoot, man, I wish I had that skill set. There's so many skills I wish I had. That's one of them.
I didn't know what he was actually doing for a long time. And it wasn't until Jordan learned to code some stuff for her other job at the shipyard or at the boatyard that I realized what he was actually doing. I was like, oh my God, you're like working at the website. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. Yeah, I don't know.
So one of the other kind of points of fuckery that I've seen lately on Twitter, and I don't get people that are doing it, man. It's like these people that are freshly off of suspension, or even just people now that like, oh yeah, Elon Musk is buying Twitter. I'm gonna say all this stuff about ivermectin now. I'm gonna dead name people. I'm gonna do this, that, and the other thing that like are in Twitter's terms of service now, and nothing has changed except for maybe the algorithm or something like that. And there's people on there just being stupid, just trying to play with fire, man.
Right, because the rules still stand as they did before. Like
nothing
at this point,
nothing has
is
changed.
Any different.
Yeah,
it seems like I've not seen those people then get immediately suspended.
No,
so
something appears to be going on, and when it comes to a motivation for something, why would they be doing this? Right? What are the possible implications of? How about lying to Congress about them not doing these types of shadow bannings and algorithmic fuckery that would be, I think, one potentially motivating factor into, oh shit, this is all about to go public, set it all back to factory reset. Like, we don't want, we don't, otherwise I'm in contempt of Congress. I can get perjury charges, so on and so forth. Every one of these people has been in front of Congress doing sworn testimony, including the head of, I mean, what's his name, or her name, Vijaya Gotti.
Oh, geez.
From the Joe Rogan Experience episode with Tim Pool, which I had the clip of. I was going to pull up, but the sound's not working and there's no subtitles. But she was on there with him and Jack and Joe and Tim. And then, she's been in front of Congress multiple times talking about how Twitter doesn't do these things and how they don't censor certain political viewpoints. And it appears as if that was the mindset that you viewed the current situation on Twitter with, you could easily make that jump, go, okay, it's logical that they have something to hide now. Otherwise, they would potentially perjure themselves. So we got to clean it up now. That's a potential motivation that doesn't take too much assumption.
Especially
to go with.
Because in that episode of Joe Rogan that she was on, Tim Pool laid out a pretty, in my opinion, clear case that that their bias was implicit not only in some of their regulations, but in the way that they were being enforced. So the bias isn't even necessarily something you could pin down in the algorithm of it, because it's being done on a human level. That the things that people are looking at are being affected in a biased manner. Twitter became the OK Corral when it was tamped down. Speculation where it goes is questionable. So let's talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. What happens from Twitter from here? Because Elon Musk has talked about trying to free it up, essentially, take away a lot of the regulations or nonsense that led to, like, the Babylon Bee being suspended or the New York Post being suspended when they were posting the Hunter Biden article. The Babylon Bee got suspended for, if anyone doesn't know what the Babylon Bee is, it's like the Onion but better, right? Yeah. It's like the newer, better version of the Onion. Yeah. And they got suspended for posting a meme, a fake satirical meme about what's her name? The head of what's her name? The woman, the doctor.
The doctor?
Yeah.
Which
who
doctor?
Works for the federal government. The trans doctor works for the federal government.
Wait.
All I can think is Rachel Dolezal, and that's
Rachel Levine.
That's the Rachel Levine. Yes.
There it is.
So posting a Rachel Levine, calling her their man of the year.
Yes.
They're suspended for this, right?
Yes.
I still don't think Babylon Bee has their Twitter account back. I think they're still suspended.
We have the technology.
So, things like this, again, the New York Post article during the 2020 election cycle about Hunter Biden's laptop that now is perfectly acceptable. Are they back?
Let's see, March 20th last tweet. So it appears that I don't know when that was, well before March 20th, right?
So they must not be able to tweet anymore.
They must not be able to, because all March 20th is when it stopped.
What did it say about
fake news? You can trust.
Oh, subscribe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Okay, interesting. So they're not. I wonder if they're just done with Twitter then.
That might be, or either that, or like their account would be suspended and they can't do anything with it, but it still exists.
Okay, because it still exists. It's just suspended, not okay.
Yeah, they can't tweet. So I
think they are still
things.
Suspended from Twitter. Yeah. Is how it would appear to me.
That's actually, because I have been suspended from Twitter before for erroneous reasons. And I believe that's the way it worked. Like, I could still get on and get tweets. I could look at things. I just couldn't comment. I couldn't reply. I couldn't like. I couldn't retweet. And I couldn't post anything.
Right.
And that was because I don't even remember why my account was. Oh, I think it was because I was like following too many people one night. And they were like, hey, we flagged your account because of suspicious activity. Like, no, I just spent some time trying to follow some motherfuckers.
Yeah. So that's one thing, right? He's been very open that he sees this as a biased platform. And so he intends to take it back to a more free speech realm, right? Yeah. The reactions to that were ferocious. I mean, I saw everything.
Going to kill trans people.
Kill trans people to he wants Nazis to be able to conform or, form up on this platform. I don't know when over the last 2 weeks we found out that Elon Musk was a Nazi. But I don't know, how do you even make that jump to he wants Nazis to be able to group up on this platform and kill trans people? How can you even you can't honestly make that claim because there's no evidence of that.
No.
And some of the other arguments here were like free speech absolutism. This is a very dangerous thing for this to be a free speech absolutist platform. Like, it's not good for anybody, which makes me question your morals. That makes me question if you're making that argument. That makes me question your morals. That makes me question your intentions. In what world would people having the ability and the right to say anything they want be a bad thing? Where did the free dissemination of information become a bad thing?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to play this real quick because it's about 5 seconds, and I don't want to misquote Taylor Lorenz, but she had something to say along these lines.
Of course.
And I think when we think about free speech, we have to think about whose speech is free, right?
So when we talk about free speech, I think we have to think about whose speech is free.
Right.
Courtesy of Taylor Lorenz,
what the fuck
piece of
are
shit
you
extraordinaire.
Talking about, you dumb bitch.
Because if you give everybody free speech, that means the bad guys have free speech too. And we can't have Elon Musk, who's a bad person, who is revolutionizing the carbon-free, what was it say, the electric car market and helping out against fossil fuels and all this shit. He's a bad guy. And so we can't give him free speech. That's not good. If somebody comes on this platform with hateful rhetoric, we don't want them to have free speech to be able to hurt everybody's feelings or cause harm by, within the trans community by dead naming somebody. I mean, what are we talking about here? This person is, we're going to talk more about her in part 4, and she is a completely and utterly unhinged human being. And there's so many bad takes about this, man. Now, well, I guess I'm going to leave, and people doing it on like TikTok and shit.
Right.
I guess I'm going to leave Twitter now because fascist Elon Musk is buying Twitter now. So there goes Twitter. It's been real, guys. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go deactivate my account, and then I'm going to proselytize about it on TikTok. Seems like a great idea.
Left for a day and then came back to Twitter.
Sean
Nonsense.
King.
No.
Is and always will be a piece of shit.
Brian Stelter, right? When he's on there, and I don't remember who he was talking to, but he said if you hear about a party and there's no rules and anybody can do whatever they want, is that a party you want to go to?
Yes.
Yeah, you're a lame ass. You're a lame ass, Brian Stelter.
What kind of sheltered life do you live?
Should anybody be able to do whatever they want, or should only some people be able to do whatever they want? What are you talking about? You're a fascist. You're a crazy person.
Yes.
I'm going to openly advocate for some people having more rights than other people. But it's only free speech, so it's okay. It's just your ability to express yourself and to be honest and call people out, and it's not a big deal. It's the same thing. It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
What are you talking about?
Well, I would commend to you this piece from the powerful Douglas Murray, written in The Sun. He did a piece, Twitter is not fit for purpose. It's the Wild West OK Corral run by woke youngsters with too much power. Elon Musk will fix it. It's a verbose article, but it is a fantastic read. And obviously, yes, it's from The Sun, so there is just ads all over the place. But it is a fantastic read.
Look at that headshot.
He is a beautiful man.
Handsome man.
I'm
Good
not
for
gonna
him,
lie.
Douglas Murray.
I am so glad.
Beautiful voice. He's very funny too.
And he narrates his books, man.
Oh, really?
His new book, War on the West, is out now. You can buy that. He does the audiobook for that. He wrote Strange Death of Europe. He wrote Madness of Crowds, and he's got more books before that.
I'm gonna get some Douglas Murray in next year's book club.
Madness of Crowds is fantastic.
Yeah.
I am about to pick up the audiobook for War on the West, and that's, I think, going to be fantastic.
Fire, yeah.
Oh yeah, and thank God he's been making it around. So he just did a Joe Rogan. He did Bridget Fedesi. He did Michael Malice, and then last night I started to watch the Grimes interview from Lex Friedman.
Okay.
Elon Musk's ex-wife.
Yeah, yeah.
And I put that on the very end of the night right before I went to bed, kind of wind down and watch about 10 minutes of it. She is a fascinating human being.
I'm sure.
Oh,
you
my
can't
God.
be married to Elon Musk.
She got stars on. She got stars on her face and stuff.
Like tattooed on her face?
No, like actual, you get a gold star for going, for doing good in kindergarten or something like that. Like those little stickers. She put them on her cheeks for the interview and stuff. But she is fascinating. She's definitely a musician, I will say that much. So anyways, yes, I highly commend to everybody this article from The Sun, a UK publication. Douglas Murray, Twitter is not fit for purpose. It's the Wild West run by woke youngsters with too much power. Elon Musk will fix it.
Is that your take?
That is generally my take. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm one of the people that more or less trust in Elon's process.
Okay.
I don't necessarily trust him as a human, necessarily.
It's the name of this week's episode. Trust Elon's process.
Trust Elon's
trust
process.
the Musk process.
But no, I do. I've seen what he's done with his other industries. He has revolutionized, like we've said before, the electronic car market. I mean, he has cornered the business. He made electric vehicles that people actually wanted to buy and that are insanely powerful and insanely efficient. And he has an infrastructure system set up to support it. I mean, it's a whole deal. SpaceX commercialized for the very first time ever space transportation.
Reusable space transportation.
Yes, something that is not, $2 trillion and then it burns up in the atmosphere. I mean, this is stuff that continually just goes and goes and goes and goes, and parts get replaced, and they're launching people up to the space station. I mean, stuff that has not happened since the late 60s and early 70s. I mean, once the Challenger blew up, man, it all kind of just got real, I think, for everybody. And he was like, well, we're going to push through and do this anyways. And he's been incredibly efficient with that. I mean, and that alone, I think, makes him the most important human being on the planet.
Oh, shit.
I think, because no one else is doing that. Nobody else did that until he did that. And then the rest of the billionaires got in line.
That's quite the claim.
I mean, Virgin Mobile guy, what's his name? Branson?
Yeah, Richard Branson.
Richard Branson. He had been trying to do the space thing for a long time, but he went about it in a very different way. Elon's like, I'm just going to build rockets and shoot them up in the sky. But I mean, he did it, man, and that is going to be a thing. That's a technology that cannot be undone. It will only be built upon into the future. And some of our deepest woes about mining, say, like the conflict minerals required for making batteries.
Right.
I mean, there might be a way that you could do that extraterrestrially. I mean, who knows? The opportunities are endless. He's got the boring company where he's like doing these fucking drilling holes and shit left and right underneath the ground.
Drill a hole on a different planet.
And that, yeah, because I don't know how much real use it has here. We have too much infrastructure in place already to like really make it a
Do you think
deal,
that's what he's doing? Do you think he's trying to just get all the different facets done so that he can just make Tesla the shit?
Yes. Yes, I think it's all, well, it's all in, I don't know if it's necessarily Tesla, but it's all in support of a common.
Make the Musk company the shit.
Right. And I think he's smart by having these different companies, right? But then he's also, so he's got the Boring Company, which made a cool flamethrower, made the Jeremy's Razor commercial possible because they used his flamethrower. The Starlink is a huge deal. That's a whole separate thing, and that's going to revolutionize.
Starlink?
Starlink is
satellites, right?
Yes, it's a private satellite network for broadband internet.
Okay.
That it's broadband satellite internet. So essentially, right now you have satellite internet from a couple like cable communications companies and stuff like that, but it's shitty.
Okay.
Like, we'd never be able to do this show off of that, but
we were running that fiber, baby.
Exactly. But the Starlink system is a massive series of satellites that will blanket eventually the entire globe, and so
it's legit.
So it is super legit. It is the way satellite internet should be.
Someone asked me when the whole Ukraine thing popped off, they're like, does Elon Musk have solar link or whatever over Ukraine? I was like, I have no idea. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I don't even know what that is. Like, I couldn't explain to you what that is.
Yeah, because
Second
essentially,
of all, I don't know.
Because essentially, what you do need, and I will say that they do have Starlink because he made sure to connect them to Starlink,
so that they could get
and
cracking.
He has his own Starlink satellites up there that relay data and messages and shit like that. And then you need a Starlink receiver on your end to be able to access the network and get your connectivity.
So he flew a space rocket into Ukraine and was like, here's your Starlink receiver.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it came in the back of a truck.
That's fucking lit,
bro. It comes like in a case, and then it's just like a modem or some shit that connects to the thing. It's probably like a little mini dish or an antenna.
It probably comes in like a weird Pelican case, just like a military computer.
Fuck yeah.
You flip it open,
and if it doesn't, take note, Musk.
Shit, Elon Musk. If
That's
it doesn't,
right.
It's probably packaged way cooler than that.
Hell, I liked at Bennick every now and again we'd get like a crate, like an actual wooden crate of something.
Yeah.
You go out there with a fucking hammer and like that's the way packaging should be. If I don't get my Starlink in a wooden crate, I'm fucking sending it back.
Yeah, that's how all our material still comes in big crates like that.
It's so much fun, dude.
Crates.
But yeah, that was the deal. He did that, and it's only so reliable because there's only so many satellites in the sky right now.
But it's into space.
But yeah, but that's the thing, and that's gonna. you're going to be out on safari in the middle of fucking Africa because you're going to do safaris, and you'll be able to whip out your phone and be connected to Starlink because you got a Starlink phone or some shit like that. And then you're like in the middle of the absolute wilderness and be like, oh, let me check my Twitter.
Hitting up Insta.
Like, because you could do that shit with Starlink. And then on
lit.
top of that, he's also got Neuralink going on, which is a little dystopian, especially for a guy who is distrustful of AI.
I'm not into that. I'm not into Neuralink. I'm not here for that.
I will say, if it's one of those technologies where it's like, if you're unplugged from the internet, I can get by it, because it's right now the focus for Neuralink is in
like fake limbs, right?
It's in habilitation, like rehabilitation. So like people that have spinal injuries that are paralyzed from down, like they can potentially fix that issue. Or like, yeah, you lose feeling in your arm or something like that. You can help reconnect the neurons, some crazy science hell shit. But it seems promising for that kind of deal. Somebody that couldn't hear might be able to hear again. Somebody that was blind might be able to see again. That's cool. But then there's also what happens if you turn the Wi-Fi on? That I don't know. But he's talked, I think in his original Joe Rogan Experience appearance, he talked a little bit about essentially not having to like verbally communicate at that point, because you could, and that's, I'm like, I don't want it to do that, man. But if a paralyzed person can walk again, I'm super down. And I would imagine they'd probably risk it at that point.
Yeah, because it's probably like the voting machines are like, you can't even connect them to the internet. But then there's like an Ethernet port in the back, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can't even connect to the internet. But there's
actually.
Yeah. Get out of here.
But you could if you wanted.
Get out of here, bro. No, I'm not here for that. Okay, let's have some deeper discussion about, well,
yes.
this wasn't deep, but deeper discussion. So I have some questions for you. So I'm not inherently against this, right? I think it's probably a good thing. I think Elon Musk owning Twitter is probably a good thing as far as the free speech aspect of Twitter goes, and the equity, if you will, for all people on Twitter. For everyone to be at the same point, for the equality of people on Twitter, I think this is probably a good thing. I am troubled by the fact that this is another billionaire purchasing effectively a portion of our culture. He's purchasing a portion of the way that people disseminate information freely amongst themselves. And so I'm having trouble differentiating at its core why this is different than Jeff Bezos owning the Washington Post. Because it seems, so there are obvious technical differences, right? That Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post, they're writing journalistic pieces that will be used on Instagram and stuff like that to, in effect, decide what is true and what is not true, right? Twitter effectively does the same thing by choosing what does and does not get disseminated, even though it sounds like under Elon Musk that's not going to be the way anymore.
No, because Biden's going to have a new administrative truth to do
we'll
that.
We'll get to that, right? We'll get to that.
Now, I'm going to put it in the words of Douglas Murray from his piece in the beginning, right? So he says, since Twitter effectively serves as the public town square, he said, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. This is in the words of Elon Musk that said that, right? This via Douglas Murray. Now, the reason I understand your concerns, and I will point to what we had talked about earlier today, I believe in part 1 of 4 here, where we talked about the benevolent dictator.
Okay.
This, I believe, is somebody that would become a benevolent dictator of a private company that would set some rules, create a platform that's profitable, and just let it go. I trust Elon I trust his process in this matter. Whereas if this was Jeff Bezos, I don't trust Jeff Bezos to not manipulate the Washington Post because of his track record already.
And because his principles are not as aligned with yours as Elon's are,
yes.
right? And that's where I get to like the more technical part. It's like I believe in that because I believe from what I know of them that Elon Musk's principles are more aligned with mine. Yeah. But that doesn't, that's where I start to struggle. But that doesn't change the inherent aspect, that a billionaire now owns Twitter, privately owns a way that he acknowledges, a thing that he acknowledges is the public square. He now owns that privately. And if he wants to, even though I don't think that he will, or even if I don't think that he will, or whatever, he could do that, do the same thing that Jeff Bezos is doing with the Washington Post and fuck everybody over. Yeah. You know?
Well, and then there's always the question of, too, like, what happens after Elon Musk dies? Who gets it at that point? And is it going to fall into somebody else's hands that we
Right.
don't trust? And yeah, no, I mean, I can get the concern for sure. I mean, that might be argument towards making something of a public utility out of a company like this. I mean, I guess that was an easier conversation when it was a publicly traded company, but now that it will be a privately owned company, I don't know, man. I don't know how to square that away because, yeah, like you said, I do trust him to do this thing, but at the same time, he could have a traumatic brain injury tomorrow. He could hit his head or whatever and wake up a different person and become evil.
Right.
Like, it could certainly happen. I mean, he might have a change of heart. He might get a new girlfriend that, sways him one way or the other. I mean, we've seen that happen before with celebrities and shit. I guess the inherent risk does not change. Maybe I'm just willing to stake a wager on it until we find something else. Because I don't think the way the public square, quote unquote, works these days, like this is not where it's going to end. This is all evolutionary. We are in a process of where this thing is going to become, because the internet is still in its infancy, I think, as far as the human race is concerned. I think we've still got a long time on this planet, and we're not going to stop tinkering with this type of shit for a long time. And I think this is probably just one of the best stepping stones. It'll be a good test case, I think, to compare to the rest of social media, to see what happens when the policies and things like that Elon will enact, how they affect the platform as a whole. And then we're going to have to, we've seen it with the rest of the major social media companies. When there's something that works, like Snapchat,
okay,
you get Reels.
Yep.
Reels, there's a Taylor Lorenz stories. No, Reels is the same thing.
But Snapchat made stories first.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes.
And so
it was TikTok.
Instagram stories. Yes.
TikTok is Reels. Yeah. Stories was Snapchat. And we've seen that throughout. And the two major social media companies, I guess at this point, it's Facebook, who owns Instagram, and Twitter. Snapchat is still some weird Snapchat thing. And
the reason that, this is a sidebar, but the reason that Instagram did that is because they tried to buy Snapchat and Snapchat rejected their purchase offer.
Bitch, see what happens now.
And so they just made stories instead of whatever Snapchat calls their thing something else.
Yeah. And so I think if there is something that does come out of this that is a net positive, the rest of social media will adopt it, because financially they won't really have a choice. Why are they not going to make more money by changing the way they do business? If Elon proves it as a pilot case or a test case and it proves positive, I think adoption on other social media platforms will be demanded by the users, if not seen by the boards and taken as a fiduciary responsibility.
Yeah.
So that's, it's a very Republican small r like idea. This is a small test case in a single company in an ecosystem or an industry, and we'll see how his changes work out in the end. And I mean, hell, if he makes the wrong moves and it goes bankrupt, he'll just lose a bunch of money on it, and somebody else will buy it and try something else.
There have been a lot of talks about his connections with China, right? So
trepidations.
To lay some of those out, he has like a factory in China, right? He has some supplying and stuff through China, obviously. So he has some business connections with them. There's some monetary connections there. He has said what people have characterized as favorable things about China before. I don't have any of those things here, so I'm not going to say they're like inherently favorable, because I don't have any reason to believe that Elon Musk loves China or the CCP or anything.
No.
I think that he probably has said whatever he has to say to stay in good graces with the Chinese Communist Party. I don't think that...
Let's just put it this way. You're not going to build a Tesla. You're not going to build the SpaceX. You're not going to build these things without a relationship with China at this point. And so, thanks to decades and decades and decades of economic...
globalism,
and Nixon opening up China, and then everybody essentially forcing all trade to go through China so we can build them to who they are today. As a capitalist and somebody that's an industrialist and a philanthropy and all this stuff, like, you kind of have to deal with them, because that's where the market's at.
Yes.
So I can understand it. I do think that, and this is as a sidebar in itself, Elon Musk has gone on to long form talk shows.
Yes.
Multiple times, multiple people. And so you have a better understanding of who he is as a person.
Friedman, like 3-4 times.
Dan Carlin.
Okay.
And he talked about he talked about Dan Carlin about like engineering, and he's very in love with the like the engineering side of like the German war machine, because they made so many innovations and things like that.
And in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, and he's very, very knowledgicable about that. I mean, he's not afraid to sit there and talk openly and unguarded about things. I mean, hell, yeah, that picture up there.
Right.
I mean, we see Elon Musk. I mean, he was token up. He tried to toke up for somebody who doesn't smoke weed on Joe Rogan. I mean, he's just Elon. Like, you know him better than you know Jeff Bezos. Yeah. Because Bezos ain't doing that shit. I don't know why. I think he's probably afraid of the pushback and things. Why would you, as a business tycoon and the second richest man in the world, or possibly the first at one time, why would you take the PR risk of going on to a long-form podcast where all you do is talk for 3 to 4 hours?
Multiple times.
Yes. And so I inherently trust him more because he's not afraid to put himself out there and just think like we do, man. Right. Like, we sit here for fucking 6 hours talking about all sorts of shit.
He's not apologizing for calling Taiwan a country.
No.
Or like any of that shit.
No. But if he needs to do business with China, he'll do business with China.
He's going to say, oh, love China so much.
Yes.
And they're going to say,
but in Mandarin.
Nice.
But in Mandarin. Oh, yeah, but I saw this cool this tweet today from an Epoch Times journalist about these, like, little confession booths to the CCP they have now.
God.
And so there's like this little box with like frosted glass that you can go in, and you sit at this computer, and there's a camera there, and then you can talk to the CCP.
Oh my God.
Probably for like turning in your neighbors and shit.
That's terrifying. That is terrifying.
Welcome to China. And we haven't even talked about Shanghai, and we won't talk about Shanghai in this episode, but things aren't good in China right now.
No, I even forgot to remind everybody at the beginning of the show to reevaluate their relationship with the CCP.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to not renew Disney Plus. So we decided we're going to cut Hulu anyway because we just didn't watch it. And then we realized when I went to cancel Hulu that we have like the Hulu Disney bundle and all that shit. So we just canceled everything. And we're like, well, we'll see, at the end of the month if we're going to like renew it.
That's right, Lenny. By promoting himself, he is promoting everything he is involved in. And he's involved in a lot of shit, as I just discussed. Yeah. And like I said, I think I said it before we started rolling, but I see Elon Musk, like him or hate him, as the most important American ever to have existed since the Founding Fathers.
Yo.
Because that's crazy. He has literally revolutionized more industries than anybody ever has before. He has had more impact to the fabric of American society than most people. Maybe Henry Ford. Maybe he's the new Henry Ford. I'll put him on the level of Henry Ford, but also Henry Ford wasn't blasting shit in space.
You're just gonna come over here and just dick suck Elon Musk for this whole part 3?
I am definitely a fan.
Dick suck.
Hey, like I said before, I think it was last episode, or no, it was episode 124. Sometimes you got to suck some dick, dude.
I appreciate the bold claim. To it. I'm here for it. I'm not mad at it.
I'm a fan. I am a fan.
Most important American potentially since the Founding Fathers. Yeah. Definitely since Henry Ford.
Yes. Definitely since Henry Ford. I would.
Damn.
Who else has had the impact that Henry Ford did when he essentially invented the fucking motor vehicle
I don't
that
have
we have
one.
today?
I don't have an argument against you. I'm here for it. That's
and I'm trying to think again, but that's where I'm placing my shit. More impactful shit. Maybe
heavy, bro.
Maybe Tesla himself, but then all of a sudden he wasn't smart enough to be able to take credit for it for so long. So how smart really was he?
I think he got fucked over, right?
Well, he did get fucked over, but it was because I guess he gave people the benefit of the doubt and was like, people aren't going to steal this shit from me. And then Edison's like, bitch, I got you.
He was like, I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, yes. So one of the other realistic effects that's come from that's how I have some of this stuff labeled is the board of dis or misinformation, right, that we've seen. Yeah. And we should be very specific because this was announced during Alejandro Mayorkas's hearing that he had, right? Also, oh, fuck! I can't believe I forgot this. It was a total aside. I meant to bring this up because it was so funny when I was doing research for part 2 about Joe Biden. I'm looking up all these gun articles and stuff like that. One of the articles that I found is from a website called Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so awesome. And their
love
logo is a Star of David that's like red, white, and blue. It's like the American flag. And then a musket on one side and the AR-15 on the other side. Man. It's fucking lit. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, Jews for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. It's fucking lit. I'm here for it. Yeah.
So remind me in part 4 when we get into grab baggy territory. I want to ask you about your relationship with the American flag.
All right.
Just try to remind me of that. Exactly. It's gotten more complicated too.
Disinformation Governance Board to tackle the spread of misinformation.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted. Focusing on Russia and the U.S.-Mexico border. Because that part was left out of a lot of stuff that is just like, this is the fucking
Ministry of Truth.
Yeah, exactly. And this part, and it's not.
It's not that.
Exactly.
But.
I don't want to hang on it too much because the idea that it won't be quickly expanded to other things, I think, is very silly.
Yeah.
But in the interest of being completely, transparent, it's to focus on supposedly misinformation online from the Russians and also going to immigrants to tell them to come to America because they didn't listen when Kamala Harris said, do not come. So what else could we do besides have Kamala Harris tell them not to come? How else do we convey this is not the place that you want to come right now, except maybe telling them at the border, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Sir, you can't come here.
Yeah.
I don't know how flying them to a different portion of the country is disincentivizing them to come to America. I'm not sure how.
Yeah.
But the only way is to monitor misinformation and disinformation online. That's the only solution we could come up with because nothing else is working. Even the tragic pleas of Kamala Harris to do not come.
Do not come.
Do not come.
Do not come.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Kamala. If you're telling me that, I'm not going to.
Yeah. So it's worth noting the announcement of this came, informal announcement came days after the acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And so it's struggling to conceive that they are not connected in some way, shape, or form.
Yes. And I don't want to go on about this because I feel like next episode we could probably do an entire segment on this because there will be more to come from this, and especially because of the named head of this new organization. And some of the
some weird
escapades,
some weird TikToks and shit.
I mean,
singing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious
but like about misinformation.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Weird shit.
But I will say,
look that up, Lenny. If you ain't seen that, look that
buddy,
up. That's some weird shit.
It's highly uncomfortable. It's highly uncomfortable because they're like, it's said a lot, but can we make 1984 fiction again? Please?
Yeah.
Because this shit is getting... Just as soon as you don't think you get closer to 1984, then they take another step closer. I'm like, I don't like a big sister looking out for misinformation, okay? I don't trust you, obviously, because you literally, in that fucking Chitty Chitty Bang Bang song or...
yeah.
What, a spoon... I don't
Mary
know.
Poppins?
Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins. I don't... Like, she literally spread disinformation in the song. So, but I've seen a lot, especially from Jack Sobek put out a tweet the other day with her when she was in college, along with what I'm assuming is a roommate or a friend, where they did a cover song of an existing song that existed and was written by Joss Whedon and was performed in this fantastic musical called Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Blog. And they did a little cover of it, and it wasn't that bad. And but he's like, this is your next, minister of misinformation or disinformation. And
it's like the video AOC dancing.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude,
It's kind of hot.
I mean, whatever, dude. I mean, that's not... Out of all the things, don't pick that one. Don't pick all this shit. She was a Broadway or a musical... God dang it.
Like a major
type thing. She was a theater geek, man. I mean, that's I've seen theater geeks. That's a theater geek.
Yeah.
And this is what they do. Like, I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to judge her for the other shit. And yes, great movie too, by the way. Is 100% a great movie. Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Blog, starring none other than the great and powerful Nathan Fillion.
Okay.
Felicia Day,
okay.
who most people only know from nerd circles, and NPH, bro.
Really?
NPH. Neil Patrick Harris plays Dr. Horrible. He's the main character. Felicia Day is the love interest. Nathan Fillion is the hero who happens to be the bad guy because it's a movie. It's a musical about Neil Patrick Harris who wants to become a supervillain. And he's got to fight and shit.
How much like musical stuff NPH did, you know?
Yeah, he's a classically trained actor. He's all up in theater. I mean, he's an amazing actor.
You ever seen
Starship Troopers to
Dr.
Horrible
Starship Troopers, right?
Yes.
Have you ever seen?
That's right, Lenny. Dr. Horrible. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Nice title. He's got an ice ray.
Have you ever
freeze
seen
ray.
Marriage Story?
No.
It has.
I've
watched it 3 times.
Jake. No. Lost in Translation girl.
Scarlett Johansson.
ScarJo.
Yeah.
There you go.
She's in it with
Black Stallion.
with Adam Driver. And I watched that movie 3 times in 1 week.
It's essentially about a divorce, I thought, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. It's about a divorce. It's about them getting divorced. And he owns a theater company, and he's like a director. And she's one of the actresses in the theater company. And there's a portion in which he sings a song from a play. And he's like, they're like in a bar. He's back in New York, and he's singing this song. It's
is it a great song?
I enjoyed the song enough. Being Alive, that's what it's called, and it's from the play called Company. And I had never heard it before, but I enjoyed his rendition of it enough that I went to work the next day and was on YouTube, and I think I watched 13 different versions of this song.
13?
I think I watched 13 different versions of this song.
Well, I did the same thing with the Witcher song.
And I found my favorite one. It's by a guy named Dean Jones.
Dean Jones.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now. We'll watch it after the show because it's fucking lit.
Nice.
And why did I talk about? Oh, one of the versions was by NPH. And that's when I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's great, man.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Harold and Kumar even.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he plays himself.
Yeah, he plays himself. That's really
And How I Met Your Mother, he was massive in that one.
Right.
Barney, suit up.
Right.
He became iconic.
I've seen a few episodes of that show.
Oh, man. We watched it for the second time around relatively recently-ish. It's a great show.
Yeah.
And they just came out with a spin-off, too, by the way. It's called How I Met Your Father. And so it's told from...
I wonder if it's good.
It's, I mean, it ain't the same, but it does justice to the original, which I thought was nice. We've been watching that as it comes in. I don't think it's going to last very long.
Yeah.
It's got Hilary Duff in it. She stars in it as, like, the main character. And so really? It's basically like a total inverse of the original, but it's pretty good.
Oh, okay. I was going to say this about this woman who's going to be the head of the Disinformation Council.
Yes.
Right? The thing I would say is worth noting is that the focus of this council at this point is Russia, right? And Russian disinformation. This woman is one of the people that said that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation, right? If that's her gauge on Russian disinformation, then we have got a serious problem here, and that's a major concern for me.
Yes.
So,
and that's a very legitimate concern because not only was it her, but I mean it was reported on by every single major media institution, including like government communication channels. So I don't like where it's going. I definitely don't like where it's going. The Ministry of Truth. Thank you, baby.
The immediate focus will be on misinformation from human smugglers who spread false claims about U.S. border policy to migrants to help drum up business.
Wait. Say that one more time.
The immediate focus will be on disinformation from human smugglers who spread false claims about U.S. border policy to migrants to help drum up business.
Man, if that is not a way to get your foot in the door.
From Russia, as well as misleading messages about the U.S.-Mexico border.
Okay, that one is like a stretch and a half, first of all. But like the first one sounds legitimate enough to be like, well, yeah, we should watch that. I mean, there's a lot of smugglers and stuff going on. We should watch their code, blah, blah, blah.
Or they read stories from U.S. journalists that say flights of immigrants going from the Mexico border to fucking Philadelphia and wherever the fuck else they're going. What are you talking about? It's It's like the gun thing, you know. It's enough that if you're not paying attention to it, like you said, you're like, that makes sense. Like, yeah, why wouldn't they do that? You know, of course, of course. Let's disincentivize smugglers bringing immigrants here as much as we can. You know, why would we want that? Or you can actually adjust policy.
Yes.
Or you can try. Disinformation, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's that people don't actually understand what the policy is, and that's why they're coming here in masses, is because they don't understand. That is...
Title 42?
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That is stupid. What you're saying, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's just that immigrants don't understand what the United States border policy is. It's not their goddamn problem. They live in another country.
Yes.
It's none of their problem. Why would they care what the policy is? Why would they care?
Yep.
They're going to show up and be told whatever it is, no matter what. Why does it matter?
Yes.
No matter what, they don't want to be where they're at. So why does it matter to them what policy is? Do you really think they're going on Twitter to find out what the U.S. border policy is? That's stupid.
Nope.
Hey, guys, got to bug out a bit. I'll catch you later. Great program.
Thanks,
you,
Lenny.
Thank you for being here. It's good to see you. Yeah, we're happy to have you here. Next is the grab bag after all this. So
that's right.
That's stupid.
It is dumb.
You know? Yeah.
And I have a feeling it's going to become much more of a large conversational topic here very, very soon. I think we'll dive deep into this very shortly because of what is going to come out. If we're having these issues right now, I can't imagine what the commentators are going to say once they kind of get finished in with their Twitter activity right now.
Like your government is lying to you.
Yes.
Your government is actively lying to you, and they're helping curate what information. Jen Psaki is going to go and work at MSNBC. If you think that she's not going to still be directly tied to the White House once she works there, you're stupid. You're being stupid. You know.
So half of the employees that have any kind of power within the media have all worked for the White House.
George Stephanopoulos, he was the campaign coordinator or whatever for Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the White House press corps being the gateway in and out of the political power, at least as far as like the media is concerned. That's just the way it is, man. These people, it's incestuous, man. There's a reason we call it an incestual relationship. The media and the White House, the government, the executive branch are totally entwined and entangled in an incestuous relationship where it's the same people that come in and out. It comes from the same schools. It comes from the same political background. I mean, it is all the same shit. It's a revolving door of corrupt thieves.
Protect your information. That's all that I can say. Protect your goddamn information.
Man, I have a few websites to show you after the show, by the way.
If you guys
to that effect.
If you listeners do not have a VPN already, get a motherfucking VPN.
If you don't have a VPN, and I roughly know which general vicinity you're in, I can find your Snapchats online right now, just through open source intelligence.
Map.
I mean, it's a weird place, man. You can find people's Facebook posts. You can find anything that anybody has publicly put out onto the internet on over 640 different categories, I believe. I can find the spots. I can look at the content because it's all traced to your IP address. Get a VPN, people. Otherwise, the government, if I can do it, the government's doing it too.
That's no good.
It's not good, dude. It's not good. Even your fucking PlayStation gamer tag, your Xbox gamer tag, I can see what fucking games you're playing.
Right.
Like, just if I know your fucking screen name,
right,
I can see that. And if I can see it, the government definitely can see it. And the rest of these fucking social media companies are selling that shit off to other people. Hide your shit.
Yeah, it's
terrifying.
People get hung up on the surface level stuff of like the ads and stuff they see. You know, like, oh, it's listening to me because I'm seeing ads for something that I Googled. You know, it's like it's so much more than that. There's so much more information tied to what you Googled. You know,
bro,
and people don't think past.
I'm telling you, man.
The ads.
Everything from Facebook posts to Instagram posts to Twitter posts to fucking Snapchat posts and you know, game activity. Like,
terrify me.
You can just look at it.
We use Signal. We use Signal for like everything, you know?
Yep.
I rarely talk to people who don't use Signal. I convert other people to Signal to talk to me because I don't want to use a different messaging app. You know?
I'm like, bro, you got to quit. You got to get off that. I tried to convince somebody like on Thursday. It's like, bro, you got to get off of that. It's not the way to do it, man.
I don't like the idea that someone could pick my message up out of the air. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was very proud to when I was on those websites the other day with my fucking little tech hacker buddy. We went over to the place here, and I was like, does this shit work or what's up? And I'm clean. I was very happy to see I was very clean.
Nice.
I've been doing the right things, I guess.
I love it.
So, anyways, we can.
Yeah,
I think that's about it, right? We can wrap her up.
Anything else that you want to add on to this?
Other than the fact that the Elon Musk Twitter thing is not going to go away, it's going to be around for a while. And just please remember, if you're going to be using Twitter, you're going to be talking about Twitter, understand Elon Musk does not own shit yet.
No.
And it won't be for a hot minute. So all your dumbass hot takes where you're talking about, well, thank God there's a free speech platform now, and I'm going to say a bunch of shit. You playing with fire, man. Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. So, on that note, don't be stupid. We're out here. We'll see y'all.
I'm back in 3 minutes.
In 3 minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every week with this food for thought. Hope you ready to eat everything.